I'm Nicole Jones, and you are listening to Mediocre to Masterful. This podcast helps you master your goals, activate your plans, and manifest your purpose. I'm here today with Shionta Jones. I'm so excited to be here with a fellow Jones. She is a nurse and a certified yoga teacher, and she is the owner of Shades of Health. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to be here with you today. Shionta and I met last year at like a wellness event. And
July.
Was it July? Oh my God, was it July?
Mm-hmm. It was at the Wellness Sanctuary Immersion with Dr. Nicole Jones. Yeah. That's where we met.
Oh my God. It
and
seems like yesterday.
I know. It does, but...
July is about to come up again.
It is. But hey, we went to lunch in between time, so that was cool.
We did. Yeah. We definitely still keep in touch. But I definitely wanted to have her speak on a topic about having a deeper connection within. And you're the perfect person to do that because every time I talk with you, it's super zen. I feel so relaxed. We actually just completed a live yoga session here in my house, like in my home, in the foyer. I just received that beautiful blessing of a yoga practice with Mrs. Jones.
So I'm honored to be here, Mrs. Jones.
Yes.
I am truly honored.
So if you guys are definitely interested in some yoga practice, make sure you check her out. We'll share more details later about how to reach out with her, but it was the best. So if we sound like we are high, if we sound like we just came out of the spa, yes. I just came out of the spa. No, I am not high. I'm high on life. How about that? But tell us more about Shades of Health.
So Shades of Health curates life-changing experiences. And what I mean by that is Shades of Health inspires transformation in the heart and the mind space. Shades of Health started from a place of feeling discriminated against, not included in what I had been taught was a healing practice for all. So what I did in the beginning and what I continue to do, but more so in the beginning, was promoting the diversity within the teachers. So I hosted many workshops for other yoga teachers that look like me. Yep. Black women, Black men. I wanted people to come to class and see someone different. I wanted there to be a variety because there was an obvious lack of representation. Not just on the magazines, but in studio spaces that I was attending. Because I actually reconnected my practice in yoga in Florida. My first time practicing was in Maryland. Bikram yoga in Maryland a couple of times, and I was like, this is not my jam. So 2 years went by, and when I transitioned to Florida, every teacher that I encountered was white. Thin, and there were times that I would go to class and I wasn't adjusted, I wasn't touched, I wasn't welcomed. I've actually had people move their mats away from me.
Seriously?
Yes. And this was, I moved to Florida, that was 2012.
Wow.
So that wasn't that long ago, and we're in 2019 and there's still things that
2000 anything is like
we're still in that place. So with Shades of Health, I coming to class and seeing a brown face leading you in this healing practice kind of challenged people's prejudice because and that was from the subjective experiences and what people's feedback was. Well, I've only been to studios and this and this and this and how this was done. But this was amazing. You hear that was amazing. This was great. So just to name a few people that really supported my mission, Nikki Green, Allison Meadows, Evan. You may know Evan as Yoga Playground.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yes, Evan supported the efforts. And then Onahawk. You've seen Firehawk. You know Ona when you see her.
Okay, when I see her, I know her.
Yeah.
don't know
she's
her
amazing.
To that,
Amazing. And I told them, what the whole goal and what the purpose was. And I said, I really want people to see you all, see what it is that, not only what you do, but who you are. You're not just a practicing student, you're a teacher, and you have something to offer. And in that, business is an evolution. So if you're starting a business, you don't have it all together in the beginning. There are levels to it. And what I was able to do is, because I can't expect someone that's coming to do work for me to do it for free, I paid them. And in that, there was percentages that were received from the community that I was able to give to a very special society, which is the MPS Society. And the MPS Society is a representation of rare genetic conditions, which my 7-year-old niece, Sanaya Lene, has MPS 4. And it's not government supported. So I had to figure out a way to support not only my niece, but the society as a whole. Long story short, we raised almost $1,000 within doing that. And families from the Middle East started to reach out. There was another young lady whose daughter was diagnosed with the exact same diagnosis as my niece. And we love what you're doing. We see what you're doing. Is there any way that you can support us in us getting to the U.S.? Because our daughter needed surgery. Wow. This genetic condition affects their musculoskeletal system. So I use that as an opportunity to, Shionta, this is bigger than you.
Yes.
You are far more capable to do more. And even if it's not a lot, you can do something to help this family get here so that she can get the exact same treatments that your niece has had. And she had a GoFundMe page, and I submitted it as a Shades of Health offering from all of the work that we had been doing. And in that, I feel like, that's abundant in itself, but like pulling the community together of people that didn't know each other, from across the world, and then bringing the local community together to support you in that is huge.
That is a big thing.
It's so huge. And the other piece to that was students that were coming to those classes were aspiring to be teachers. Wow. So I was like, okay, God.
Wow. Yeah. What are you telling me?
How can I assist in that matter? So I developed I created a scholarship. Wow. It's a $300 scholarship. It's a small token, but I know how much trainings cost. I've spent thousands of dollars on training, and under extreme circumstances where my finances were not that great. So I created it to where someone could share their story with me, like what drew them to yoga. I needed to know, what the impacts of your life, like what are you doing in the community? I wasn't just going to give you money. And then also I needed proof that you were actually enrolled or accepted into a program. And then I've been able to fund 3 aspiring teachers over the last year and a half. So that they can complete their program.
A little goes a long way.
It does.
And I'm sure that has
it does
changed the lives of those individuals in more ways than you could even imagine. And even for you, even for Shades of Health, that probably has opened up so many more doors. Probably not even a business idea you thought of when you were creating Shades of Health, but now has led you down this path of just on a global scale.
Yeah. And it was a Instagram project, right? I'm like, I'll tell you what I did, right? Because I'm true to my core on this. I started following people on Instagram, and I was like, I need to figure out a way to create a platform so people can see Nicole Jones, and who she is and what she's doing. Of course, I email people, and some people are like, oh no, I cannot do this, because how is the world going to look at us in doing this? And I said, well, if you read back in my email, I said I would love all people to be involved, because I feel like culturally race isn't just an African American thing. It's the silence is problematic. That's the problem that we're faced with, and it's not just in the wellness industry. It's all around.
Oh yeah.
So I emailed these ladies. 30 of them emailed me back like, yes. And I said, this is a perfect number because what I'm going to do this was December 2013. I said, each of you are going to be assigned a day. I'm going to post you on my page, but then I need you to go on your page and tell people who you are, where you are, which was a very important piece because 5 years and counting, there's partnerships, there's friendships that are continuing to thrive today because they know Shionta's in Atlanta, Dana Smith is in Maryland, you know, they have these pockets to go to, and which I like to call safe spaces for them to thrive a little bit more. We created, so for 30 days, like all you see are Black women practicing yoga, fitness. I invited natural hair care product people, skincare. I was like, anybody that I could pull in, you know, to like, so people can see that we do more. Yeah. We do this too. Yep. And we need to be represented in that. So that went on. It continued for almost a year and a half, and then that's when everything else started to kind of evolve. I need to put this into action. And that's when the workshops started coming, the classes started coming, the healthcare seminars, people calling me, can you do this, do that, do that? And, you know, it's like one real big family, even though I can't necessarily touch everybody, but there's this common ground of understanding that this was necessary at that time, and it's still necessary today.
Correct. That's just a beautiful story. Like I think what is important about what you just shared is the importance of activating what you know to be something bigger than you, which I love that you say that, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who have a business that they're trying to run, or they're trying to do something, you know, with the community, nonprofit, whatever that is, and they have this passion, they have this drive, they can feel it in their soul that I am supposed to be doing this not because it's not only going to fulfill me because I'm passionate about it, but there is a larger purpose to this mission that I can't even imagine. And it sounds like that's exactly what it was for you, from just like as soon as you started activating and start putting yourself in the right position, start reaching out to people who you needed to be in this community based on their background and industries that people that look like us aren't normally in or publicized. The ball just started moving from there. Yeah.
And who led me to Shades of Health was a little brown face. And I say little brown face, I was invited, so 2 months before I did that challenge on Instagram, I was invited to teach the Orlando District Girl Scouts breathing. They were doing, the leader of the group was like trying to incorporate different topics that were beneficial and vital for them to understand and learn. And at that time I was running with Black Girls Run. One of my sisters, she, Shay, where are you? Because I miss you. She said to me, she says, you know, my friend, she's trying to get her Girl Scout group to learn about breathing, and I thought about you, and can you come in just for like 30 minutes to spend with the girls and talk to them? You're a nurse. And it's like, absolutely, I'll do it. But of course, my brain is already rolling. Like, okay, if I'm practicing yoga at home, maybe I can incorporate that into the topic. So I get to the facility, and I get upstairs in this big room. It's little brown faces all around. I mean, like elementary school, maybe somewhere like middle, but it just so many of them. And one little girl runs up to me and she says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I said, "Hi, I'm Shionta. I'm here to, you know, talk to you all about breathing. And we are going to practice a little yoga today too." And the first thing she said to me was, "Black girls don't do yoga." Wow. And that was a mere reflection in my face. Like, okay. Wow. I have to do something. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
To hear that from someone so young and to already have that impression engraved
Yeah.
in their mind that we're not in those spaces. We don't do that type of stuff.
Mm-mm. In her mind, we didn't.
Yeah.
And after 45 minutes with them, it was, when are you coming back? You coming back? Because we really enjoy this. And I didn't have at the time enough yoga mats to cover the amount of girls that were there. Some were on towels.
Yeah.
Some were like, it's okay, I'll do it on the floor, it's fine. But it was like the energy in the room was like, okay, this is vital and necessary for them to know, yes, you do. Yes, you do practice yoga. In fact, your ancestors practice yoga. Your elders practice yoga. It was a component that we're lacking. And I know we only see the physical because that's what's selling. Yeah. Yoga is a $billion industry. And just saying that, it turns my stomach just a little bit when knowing that the earlier practices and traditional practices started with breath, air, fire, water, all these things we know as healing properties. But the status quo is going to outdo someone sitting beautifully in a meditative pose. You're not going to have a calendar full of somebody in a meditative pose, you know. And, that's yoga too, by the way. That's yoga. So that's what led me to where I am today.
No, that's like, once you hear that, it's like, okay, activation starts now. Like, I have to make a change. I have to see the shift in my community. And it starts with my community, and it starts with these young girls for them to shift their perspective on what yoga is supposed to be for Black women or Black people in general. Because now you've just changed those young girls' lives forever. And their parents. Yeah. They probably went home. And that's probably, unfortunately, where they might have learned, or that young girl might have learned that it's not for us. Yeah. But probably help shift the mentality of whoever she heard that from. When she went home that day. Yeah. Wow. So it sounds like yoga has just transformed the overall wellness. I mean, we're on the topic about having a deeper connection and how that plays into your overall purpose and how you feel and how you go about each and every day. It just sounds like once you went down this path of wellness and within practicing yoga, it just shifted everything. Yeah.
Which yoga is everything. And when people say they don't do it, I remind them that you're doing it every single day. And I feel like there's anything that's bringing awareness is yoga. Anything that is bringing you into focus is yoga. It doesn't take a foot to your head. It doesn't take you walking on your hands. Although those are components of it, I am in a space now as a teacher that I want to shift the emphasis of what this healing practice has always been. And it starts with making it accessible for people. And I'm not just talking about able physical body moving people. I've taught people in wheelchairs, taught people in their hospital beds. I've taught children with, a limb that's lost. I work with trauma release, needed situations. We know what those are. I work with all body types, and until we can shift the emphasis of that and then add the practical relevance. Yes. If you notice in our practice today, that should be off the mat as well. Hydrating, releasing, lengthening, balancing, strengthening. These things need to come off the mat into the world.
Yeah, building that self-awareness, listening to your body
a lot more. And it's transformed my language too, in a way. For instance, I say, I feel sick today. Now I say, I'm detoxing.
Wow. Yeah.
Or, I am trying. It's now I'm doing. Or to get on some real topics, I'm in so much debt. No, I'm freeing myself of debt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we can dig deeper in the practice beyond the prettiness of a pose, that's when we start to really transform.
I like where you mentioned, well, first I like when you mentioned this basically just changed your whole language. And I also appreciate that you mentioned the different type of people that you treat or that you've done yoga practice with, and their ailments or their situations or their lack of being able to get to the studio, so you go to them and go to the hospital beds. What I think is important about that is because you hear people who've never really done yoga before, their first response is, oh, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible enough. Or I can't do yoga because, maybe they feel like they're overweight. Or I can't do yoga because, Black girls don't do that. I think that is important that you mentioned the people that you work with, because yoga's
everybody
everywhere, and anybody can practice it. You just have to take that moment, take that time, and make it a mission to, if you're really interested, if you're really looking to see a shift or stretch, or you're having problems bending over, so you need a change, but you're not actually actively doing it.
Right.
A yoga actually is a good outlet in order for you to do that.
I agree 100%. And we as teachers, it is our responsibility to shift that emphasis. Which I think would lessen the why I don't, or the misconceptions of what the practice is.
Yeah. To that point, from that misconception, what is the number one thing people say when they mention, well, I don't do yoga, I don't practice yoga?
Interesting enough, and there's a lot of research out there. We've all heard I'm not flexible enough. We've all heard I'm not thin enough. We've all heard I don't practice religion, right? Because that's a whole nother that's a separate thing.
Yes, I actually went to a retreat and someone mentioned their mom did not want to do yoga because she was like, that's against my religion to do yoga. She's like, Mom, it's not a religion.
There's a lot of things, so I can't really put a quantity on it, but like there's also research showing that there's a greater percentage, like over 40%, comparing all those things I just named, that are other.
Wow.
So it's like, what is the other thing? What are the other things that people are afraid to come to this practice? Right.
I think what you just said, what are they afraid? It's fear. Yeah.
So that would be my number one thing if I could answer that, or answer to your question. Like there's a lot of layers of fear in that.
Yes.
So again, I go back to the point, it is the teacher's responsibility to shift that emphasis. And that's what separates, I hate to open this can, but this is what separates an influencer from a compassionate, dedicated yoga teacher. Because you can be inspired and be influenced and get caught up in that status quo and neglect the many layers and why you aren't, reaching for your greatest potential. And I'm not saying it's yoga, and I'm not saying it's Zumba. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I view the universe as this big old ocean of human potential. And it starts with you. Period. So when it's one thing when a student or someone that may have never practiced is asking me questions, then I can inform them. I can educate them too, in a way like, maybe this style is not for you right now. I always give out the level of the class so that well, I'm not there yet, but I will work there and get there. Or maybe you are there and this is what you need, a more intermediate advanced class. I can do that part as a yoga teacher. But when the questions start coming in relation to, well, what does it do to enhance this, that, and the third, I offer, come visit.
Right.
I need, the felt experience of it. There have been classes I've been to, I couldn't pronounce the name of it, but because I wanted to learn more, I've invested my time, my money. I went and I was like, all right, that's not my jam, right?
Next.
Nothing against the teacher, her character, his or her character, anything. It just wasn't for me. Yeah. So I always encourage people to go somewhere to have that felt experience of it before they make a reason why they can't do it.
I think that's really important because, for one, being able to educate people, like if they're inquisitive and they're wanting to know more about the practice of yoga, being able to educate people on, okay, well, maybe based on your injury, maybe you should consider this practice of yoga, or maybe based on your flexibility, maybe consider this practice of yoga. The education piece is so important, and for those who are interested, they definitely should seek, out opportunities or research opportunities to get more educated on that. Ask questions to yoga instructors online or if they find them on Instagram. I think that's important because for those who are fearful of the practice of yoga, in my mind, I think they have like this blanket idea that yoga is just like this one practice and not the multiple options and opportunities that you share. Like this morning you were like, there's yin yoga, there's restorative yoga, there is just all these different levels, and beginner level and advanced level, that I think people just have like this blanket idea that it's just yoga.
Right.
Like everybody's doing the same practice, and that's not necessarily the case.
There's a practice of doing nothing, sitting still,
and going back to breathing.
And breathing
like
and being, and having more of a natural awareness of like what's happening, what's going on, like what you're feeling. And again, what I mentioned earlier, like we're forward moving people. We got to get the success. We got to get the next brand. I don't know. Yeah. But if we just kind of lay back and breathe more into the back of our body, we can experience a whole nother sweetness to that. Yeah. And again, I go back to the foundational root of this. It is a healing practice. Yeah. So when people say, I've been injured from yoga, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, whoa, injury can happen, right? Yes, of course. Have I had my fair share? Yes. But I was also not integrated. I wasn't guided properly.
Correct, like you mentioned, I wasn't touched. Like
I wasn't
moved me in the right position.
All of those things, So, we need to get back to the root of this healing practice, because there's a whole lot of layers to it. A whole lot of layers.
Like what you hear? Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter at mediocre-to-masterful.com for more tips and resources to help you reach your goals. And you can also follow us on Instagram at mediocre-to-masterful. For the people who, once you have educated them, who have never done a yoga practice, and they finally attend one of your sessions and they are, completed their first session, like what is the number one comment or response that you get from that newbie?
Who's that on your playlist? No.
That is very true. That is very true.
Yeah. My playlists have been pretty awesome. I will boast to that. No. So I teach alignment based now. That wasn't always my teaching style, but that came along with the evolution and the deepening of my practice and how much I love it. My practice started very vinyasa flow, breath movement. So typically it was, wow, it'd be like what was that? Or what did I just experience? And it wasn't that it was a negative comment from them, because I usually say, how are you feeling? Not how was that? Because I'm not seeking validation from anyone in regards to it. I'm more so, how are you feeling? You know, I feel like in those moments for the newbies, it just it's an awakening on body, mind, spirit, soul level for them, so they don't know how to respond to it. And then on top of it, that amazing playlist, you know, it's that made them cry, or made them that made them something surged in them, you know. But I do get a lot of people who cry.
I was actually going to ask you that.
Yes.
I was actually
I don't know what that is. I don't know. I can only speak from a place of who I am. Yeah. And, you know, I can give credit to the matriarch women in my life. My mother, my grandmother, who was, you know, until she passed at 98, like, just speaking from a place of truth. Not sugarcoating it, because life is not always sweet and joyful and happy. I always I say in all my classes is, especially in the heart space, which is our core center truth, right? That's a space of openness, can be. It's a space of constriction if we've been hurt. But letting people know that is a fundamental human response to the need of love and the need to give it. So in that, I feel like, okay, they're not looking at me as a goddess or a guru. Like, Shionta is a human person with the same potentials and the same, you know, things going on in life. And then I bring humor to my class as well, you know, which I think lightens the mood of gotta get in this down dog, or you know, I use words like, it's okay to grunt. It's okay to sigh. It's okay to roll your eyes at me. Because when I'm facing dog, I'm like, that is the worst for me.
Okay,
you know,
I'm ready to move to the next position.
And I think, you know, when people experience a teacher that can come to that human level, like, okay, you're having a bad day, but guess what? You showed up. I'm not disregarding that you're having a bad day. Like when the bridge gave out here in Atlanta. Let's talk about that. I had to go teach a class and pretend a bridge didn't just fall out. Like, okay.
We're going to talk about this.
Wow, there is so much going on out there. And you know what? There's another route that you may have taken to get here, but I'm happy you're here. That's like, let's put it on the table. Let's breathe together. Let's create this unison of invocation and bringing us all in together. And then woosah. All right. Some bridge poses? Yes. Yes, we did. All of that. Right. But, you know, it's like, newbies there's no one response. It's just like, okay, well, what was that? What did I feel? But
no, it's a beautiful thing. Whether you are a newbie or you're practicing a new yoga style or a new yoga practice, and you open up an area that might have been constricted, or you didn't realize you had that much pressure in that area, it's just the most relieving and most soothing and most, I want to say airy. It just feels like a release in a way that, for somebody who's a newbie, I could see where the tears may start rolling, because it's like, I didn't know I had that much stress in my shoulders or that much stress in my heart. I feel a release and a relief that I haven't felt in months or years for some of those people. And which is why I think yoga, as you continue to practice, you don't have to practice every single day, but as long as you have some type of constant to it, you are able to open up areas within your body that you don't necessarily know are being stressed.
And that's the yin portion. Is like, we can't say stress yoga, right? But indeed, we're stressing our deeper connective tissues, the fascia. And so in yin, and that's why people are like, oh, I can't do yin. They'll say because they can't sit still for that long, right? Yeah. That's why. But
everybody likes that excuse. I've probably used it for once before when I started.
I've used it because I was an athlete. I was a runner. I was moving. And I didn't want to sit still, and not knowing how this practice could have really benefited and complemented everything I was doing, because there's a cooling effect to it. But there's this stress factor that it almost fatigues the muscle. But over time, if we keep doing that, then we're paying attention to the areas that we may have missed, right? And I say that because 11 years of nursing in some of the top hospitals in the world, not a brag, but we got everybody because you're the best. We're going to come here and you're going to fix me. And a lot of times when they get there, it was too late. They had the signals. They had, the sensations. And energies are real, which affects sickness too. Yeah. So when they got to us, it's like, okay, we're working double time to try to catch up to the pain, or now we're working triple time to catch up to not just the physical pain, but the mind pain that's creating the physical pain. I mean, that's a whole nother podcast. But what I'm saying is, like, we have to pay attention to the areas that we are not necessarily looking at. Yeah. So when we sit, that's a really good opportunity to feel and notice what's taking place. Whether you're more in the mind or body, you're having a moment to figure it out. Yeah. And to those who meditate and it's difficult and challenging, it's difficult and challenging. You think your mind's rolling. Our mind is neurologically designed to roll, and 5 times more of what the worst is, or the negatives. So we got to work harder to replace those 5 times more negative comments in our head and thoughts with something positive. So, in yin, we hold these poses for like 3 minutes to 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Amazing.
I've spoken with practitioners that have been doing this for a long time that have been past 20 minutes. Wow. So we got to get back to the grounding spaces and again, just really shifting out of the gotta be busy. When I'm busy, air quotes, I'm super productive. Again, the yoga has helped me transform the language in being busy to I'm productive. I'm super productive this week, as opposed to making everyone think I don't have time to speak with them or chill with them or, give a word of advice to or whatever. So, yeah.
I think what you mentioned were, working triple time with the patients that came into the hospital, and they've had these signals. They've had like little things that have come up where they know something might be wrong. Then they've allowed it to escalate, and then they come to you guys to repair them 100%, 110% in some cases. Yeah. What I think is important there is that we recognize what our body is telling us. I think a big piece of why I enjoy yoga is because it is of self-awareness, having better self-awareness, being in tune with yourself, and just having that meditative moment to listen to your body and feel what your body is telling you to do. And self-awareness, which then leads to self-love as well. As you continue to practice over time, you will realize much quicker what your body is telling you. Hey, I need some activity in this space. I'm a little dull over here. You need to work that out. Or you just bent over and you can't pick up that fork. It's like, let me go ahead and do some hip openers or something. Just different things. Right. Can you share, like, what is the connection between yoga and having that deeper connection to self-love?
Inquiry. If you don't have a self-inquiry process, you need to get one now. Period.
So do you mean I have like a checklist. Okay, listen to what my stomach is. It growling, or is it listen to my back? Can I not arch properly? Like,
so,
what do you mean?
like, since we're on the topic of yoga, this morning, I told you I'm not a Simon Says teacher. Simon says do this.
Right.
Put the right leg forward.
Yeah, which I appreciate it because you help like maneuver
right.
and align me. Yeah.
It's a co-inquiry in that situation, but it's also more important for you to say, Shionta, that doesn't feel good for me. That actually feels good. Hey, I just noticed something that I did that helped me get more extension, more expansion. As far as off the mat, we know what triggers us. We know who triggers us.
Yeah.
The self-inquiry process in that is our response. How, when. So having the inquiry of self and knowing that I am not what I do. I am because I am. And that is enough. There's worth and enough in that. And that for me has been the connecting piece, the self-inquiry. Collaborating with Shionta, figuring out what works and what doesn't, because how in the world am I supposed to collaborate with you?
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to come to you with an idea? And that's why partnerships fall apart. That's why, creatives get frustrated when something may not be working. And I always ask, well, who are you? Do you have a safe space? These are important things that we need to look at as individuals before we like step out and we're working with other people.
Yeah.
And that in this topic at hand, before you go to a studio, you can read all day long and what the description of something is. It's just like when you go to the grocery store, but an educated consumer, an educated self-inquiry person is going to know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, based on what it is that they've learned from inside. We go for answers all over this place and we neglect inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta have that self-inquiry process. And I stress here in 2019, if you do not have that self-inquiry process, get one now.
Yeah.
And then the questions will come, well, Shionta, how? I had a great mentor, and one thing she said to me, and I said it at the beginning of our practice, a lot of things that stay with me, and in the moments they didn't make sense, but now they do. And she used to say to me, give yourself permission. Allow yourself this moment. Oh, but you're just going to have to learn how to do that. It's just like mama's love. She will hug you, kiss you, but you do something wrong, she going to whoop your butt. And in that, I knew she loved me. I didn't understand why she couldn't give me tips and answers, but it took time.
Yeah.
Like, it took time. And I was like, okay, what I think is not working for me actually has worked for me. The not wanting to sit still, because I was up running. I used to run 100 miles a month.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes 125 miles a month.
Girl, you a beast.
I wasn't dealing with my stuff though. I was literally running away when all I had to do was sit my butt still and get clarity on the habitual patterns that I had created to be where I was.
Wow.
That's why there's evolutions and depths to this beyond the pose. I was, oh my gosh, when I think about this, I was about 40 pounds heavier. And this was 9 years ago. And that's when I was introduced to the yoga. My colleague was like, you should come with me. And fear kicked in me because I'm like, the body factor came in.
Okay. What we talked about earlier.
Right. And 2 years after gaining that much weight, which took no time because I was heavy in my career, learning a new position at the top hospital, a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And, you know, unhealthy relationship at that time, transitioning. I was like, I gotta run. I have to run.
Yeah.
And I'm almost now sitting here in this moment wondering, was that why I went to Florida? Is that why I left Maryland? It was a good thing that it happened because I had gained so much support, sisterhood through running with Black Girls Run. I was meeting so many people from all walks of life. You know, you work in a Florida hospital, people traveling from all over the world. You're bound to take care of everybody because they're there on vacation.
Yep.
Something's happened.
Yep.
You know, I mean, my greatest patient I ever took care of as far as language barrier, and, you know, he was from the Middle East and he was speaking Farsi. And at the time, I had no clue what this man was saying.
Wow.
I had to get an interpreter, and that interpreter struggled because there was only 2 at the time interpreters in that entire hospital that could speak Farsi. So it's like, I was like surrounded by so many different elements, cultures, and different things were happening to me. And what I was running from was actually what has saved me now. I think of the... who is it? Anthony Brown song, Worth. And he says, you thought I was worth saving.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I get emotional thinking about it because...
Wow.
Like... You thought I was worth saving. So you came and changed my life, and you thought I was worth keeping.
Wow.
So you cleaned me up inside is the first 4 lines in that song.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
So the things that we're running from, we need to develop that inquiry process of why.
Yeah. Big time.
It hurts.
Yep.
It's painful. It even almost took my life.
Wow.
But I'm still here. I'm still here.
Before we close, I'm just curious if you have a good story, a feel-good story. We've been talking about feeling good this entire podcast, this entire episode. A feel-good story where you have enriched someone's life when it comes to practicing yoga, like a transition story where they have.
I'm going to share a feel-good story. How it's enriched her or whatever, because she's 7 years old. My niece, Sanaya. She was diagnosed with MPS 6 years ago. Like, we were early on. And it was right before I transitioned to Florida when she was diagnosed. Well, I was already actually in Florida when she was diagnosed, and my brother called and told me. And nurse brain comes on. I'm a researcher at heart. My degree is in science. I've taken every type of science. So at that point, I was like, I need to know what this is. I need to know it like the back of my hand, the front of, you know. And I went through and I read all about it. And I instantly got worried. And I was like, okay, how can I help her through this process? looking at how many surgeries she's going to have to go through. Okay, and the government, like, doesn't fund this. Like, how is my family? How are we going to do this? That's the worry that came in. And she's been through multiple surgeries, but you would never know.
Wow.
Like, her spirit is so, oh my God. Like, when I think about that little person, I mean,
right.
I think about how her spirit enlightened so many people around her. And it was 2014. I went home for Christmas, and I called my friend Dana, who is the owner at Spiritual Essence Yoga Wellness Center in Maryland. And I said, I want to teach a yoga class when I come home. I said, she's like, well, when you want to do it? I said, the day after Christmas. She's like, you sure if you were going to come? I was like, I'm sure I'll sell out.
Wow. Confidence. I love it.
So I put the information out there. I emailed friends, family, told them, get your spot now because it's going to sell out. And I sold out in less than a week.
Wow.
And my niece came to that class.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And it was a long class. It was like a 70-minute class. And all I kept thinking, like, she's only 4. Is she going to get through this? Like, how are we going to do this? She practiced the entire time. She practiced the entire time. And yoga to her is dance. And I don't correct her on that because it is what it is with that. You know, it's if yoga is dance for her, then I want her in her mind to know that she can move no matter what. She can dance no matter where she is. You dance. And, you know, I've had classes since then back home, and she's there with me. I have pictures of her helping me set up the blocks and the mat, and she practiced again with me, you know. So
precious.
They're so resilient, kids are, and even against all these odds that I read about years ago, it's like she's defying every one of them.
Wow.
And that's, if nothing keeps me going, I'm like, thanks. Thanks, Nana. Auntie Tay loves you.
I love that.
So, yeah. I would like to think that I've enriched a lot of people, and I hope that's the case. But, like, I really want people to sit still and sit and be with themselves. Like, just be with yourself.
Yeah.
The ugly parts, the good parts. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Because in every part of that, healing can take place.
I totally believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you being here and sharing your story.
I am so honored. And I love everything about you and what you're doing.
Oh.
And since we were talking about spiritual, I have a little gift for you.
Oh my goodness.
It's a small token.
Of course you would have a gift.
It's a small token, and I think that it's really perfect for right now. So this is ametrine.
Nice. That goes good with this whole.
So it's a mixture of the soothing crystal amethyst and the optimistic citrine. If you can see the yellow in that.
Oh, yeah. So what's it again?
Ametrine.
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 Yeah, definitely see the yellow. So nice. And it goes with my decor. So this is awesome. I love it. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. I appreciate that. This is gorgeous. Well, how can people reach out to you?
You can follow me at Heartbeat for Many, and that's Heartbeat, the number 4, Many. And you can also email me. I love emails because I feel like I can get connected with people from all over. shadesofhealth13@gmail.com. I respond. Okay. If I haven't responded, I'll have my automatic responder on to why. But you can also read more about me and my journey at www.shadesofhealth.life. And every week I'm at Sati Yoga Studio. It's in Atlanta, Georgia. Beautiful studio. The name means mindfulness.
Nice.
Isn't that great? I just
That
love it.
awesome.
I love it there. So every Thursday at 12 p.m. and also every Thursday at 7 p.m.
Nice.
So you'll get a double dose. Alignment base in the afternoon and yin yoga at night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
truly appreciate you being here, sharing your story, sharing your knowledge. You have a wealth of knowledge in this area.
It's
just...
scary sometimes. I always say if I go missing, the government did it. But no. Just joking.
Oh my God. You know enough to be dangerous, huh? That's awesome. But thank you, and thank you.
Thank you.